Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Uh, we want to today start a new series on the chakras. This is one of the most, greatest mysteries in the Indian yoga system, where we talk about chakras. A lot of the knowledge about chakras is passed on from the guru to the disciple. And so I'm very fortunate in that I had a lot of conversations about them with Mr. Tavaria. And we'll just see that where all there are sources about the chakras, there's the Hathyog Pradipika, there's the Gheran Sahita, and there's the very famous book by Sir John Woodroffe, The Serpent Power, which is the standard book on the chakras. Of course, a very difficult book to read. So today we are going to try to understand what this means, the chakras mean. Now, just as we have a physical brain, and the brain is an instrument for us to relate to the world outside, yoga says we have subtle brains, which they call the subtle brain as manas, aham, and buddhi. So when we are talking about the subtle brains, when we are talking about the manas, a major part of the manas is the chakra system. So I'm going to try to explain this in different ways. Now, if when we see that male and female meet to have a child, and there is a master cell created in the womb of the female, and that master cell initially it splits into two, from 1 to 2. This initial splitting at the physical level, it is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system. But at the subtle level, it is the beginning of two chakras called the Mooladhara and Swadhisthana. And as the child forms in the womb of the mother, what we see through imaging and all is the growth of the physical child, the body of the child, which takes 9 months to grow. But at a subtle level, there is also a subtle body being built, a subtle astral body being built, and the chakra system is a kind of screen between the physical and the astral body. And so that system is being built, and it takes 7 months to be ready. At the end of or around the 7th month, there is a passing of information, and that is why when a lady is pregnant, we have a ceremony at the 7th month. And there is a passing of information not related just to the individual, but related more to his, his race. The racial characteristics of the person are passed down at the 7th month, and that is when the chakra system becomes sort of semi-active. Of course, the child is breathing from the mother, and so the electricity which is going into the chakra system comes from the breath of the mother. Now, when the child is born, many things start happening at that time. Let us try to just have a look at that. We'll understand this through that. And the first thing is that the child cries. Now, this child cries at the moment of crying. There is a spark between the Mooladhara and Swadhisthana. Later, when we go into the the imagery of the Mooladhara chakra, we will see that Indra is sitting there with a thunderbolt in his hand. This thunderbolt represents that first spark, which happens when the child cries. That is when the child cries. And that first spark is an electric current, which rises between Mooladhara and Swadhisthana and goes to the top of the head, through the backbone. This electric current is what is called as Sushumna in yoga. This is the electric current, or the electric current of the Atma, the spirit which has entered at that moment of time. And this electric current it travels up the backbone and it activates these 7 brains. We will just now take chakras as 7. Some systems take as 12, some take more, less, and all. But just for our fundamental knowledge, we will take them as 7 just now. And then we'll add 2, 3, because my teacher, Mr. Tavaria, added 2 or 3 chakras. So it activates these brains, and we will see how these brains work, what they do, what functions they do. And it rises up to the top of the head to a place called the Bindu, or the silent area in the brain. This current moves from down to up, and again from up to down. And there's this rotation of this current north to south, north being the top, south being the bottom. That is why we say that Bhishma died in Uttarayan. So there is one Uttarayan which is outside when the sun moves through 14th of January, and there's one Uttarayan inside where you want to take the current of the Atma at the moment of death. So this movement, this electrical movement, is what we call the Atma, or the spirit. Now we must understand that wherever there is a flow of electricity, at right angles to that flow of electricity, there is a creation of something called an electromagnetic field. So the current is traveling up the Sushumna, but around the Sushumna is created an electromagnetic field. This electromagnetic field, it represents all that we have brought over from our previous life. And this electromagnetic field is called the soul. Now let us just try to understand this. The original current which comes in is the spirit, and the field which it creates is called the soul. So we have in the Yoga Sutra, there's a difference between what is soul and what is spirit. Now something else starts at the moment of what you call birth, and that is the child starts breathing. Now when the child starts breathing, the breath goes in the lungs. But we know that together with the breathing inside, a current of electricity goes in, which is called prana. So now we have one current of electricity, which is started by the entry of the spirit, which we call as Sushumna. We have an electrical field of that current. And now the child has started breathing. So there are two nadis over here. The prana or the electricity goes through those nadis. It wraps around the backbone at 5 different places, and it filters the prana into an area called the perineum at the bottom of the backbone. So again, there is electricity moving through the Ida and Pingala, and that creates another electromagnetic field. So now we have 2 electromagnetic fields. And this is very, very important. And one is an electromagnetic field which starts with breathing, and that is the electromagnetic field of the physical body. And another is the electromagnetic field which was the original, which life came into the body-brain system. Okay, I can't be seen. Okay. Which came into the body-brain system. And so there are 2 electromagnetic fields, one of the physical body and one of the subtle body. Try to see this in yoga. One of the things which we are taught is how to separate these fields. Now, when I am in a negative emotion, or I'm very angry, or I'm very tense, the fields come very close together. But when I'm relaxed, the fields separate. Just we'll take one small thing, that supposing there's somebody sitting next to me and that person has a cold, and the vibrations of cold I try to enter my body because I am sitting next to him. So they will first enter the outer electromagnetic field, which is created by Ida and Pingala. Now, that electromagnetic field, within that, it will create a new, small field, a minor field, which will take the shape, of the cold vibration, of the cold pattern. And if the 2 fields are close to each other, it will pass on that cold pattern to the inner field, and I'll get a cold. This is how we get diseased. I don't know if I'm coming across. So when we practice yoga, we don't allow the 2 fields to come together. We remain in a relaxed state of action through non-action. And when that happens, the outer field cannot touch the inner field. But the minute I'm angry, the outer field, or minute I'm negative, it will be, minute I have a thought of revenge, both the fields will touch each other, and the outer field will pass on whatever it wants to the inner field. So that is why in yoga, we learn to keep these separate. And when they move more than 4 inches separately, people have an experience of leaving the body and things like that. And when they move more than 9 inches, it brings about physical death. So we have these 2 electromagnetic fields, which are working together. It's like a dance of 2 fields throughout our lives. Now, we have these chakras which are like discs, and they are in a horizontal, plane. So these chakras, they rotate. Now try to visualize something. That here, later on, we'll talk of 7 chakras, but we'll talk of 5 just now. We have these 5: Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahat, and Vishuddhi. We take these 5 and take them as 5 horizontal discs. Each is moving in a different natural direction, and they are creating different kind of tornadoes in front of the body and at the back of the body. So when we really go to look at them, we don't see 5, we see 10. They're actually not 10, they're just 5. And if you were to take 7, we would see 14, but they're not 14, they're just 7. So what we see is 5, what we see is 10, something like a tornado in front and something at the back. What is at the back is our subconscious and unconscious mind. What is in the front is our conscious minds and what we do, our daily activities. In the language of Gurdjieff, we can say that what is in the back is our essence and what is in front is our, what you call, personality. Now, let us start from the lowest chakra, which is called Mooladhara. We'll talk about Mooladhara in the next session, but let us see the basic, what you call, basic pattern of man. And where has this basic pattern come from? All plants, they react to external stimuli. So if, what you call, a plant, the root feels that there is water in this direction, it will send it will send its roots in this direction to get water. The plant, what you call, reacts to external stimuli. Similarly, animals react to external stimuli. Now, in animals and plants, there is something called a universal mind. They don't have a choice. If the sun rises and there is a field of sunflowers, then all the sunflowers have to look at the sun. They don't, each sunflower does not have a mind of its own. They have a general universal mind. The one sunflower cannot say, today is my holiday, I won't look at the sun, right? But man can say, today is my holiday, I won't look at the sun. Similarly, if lions come into heat, then all lions come into heat at the same time. One lion cannot say, I'm a brahmachari, I don't want to, enter into mating. But a man can say, oh, I practice brahmacharya, right? I do sanyam upon the energy, etc. So animals and plants respond to external stimuli. And man has this vestige of reacting to external stimuli. And that is his adhar in life. And that is why that chakra is called as Mooladhara. The basic pattern of life is to react to external stimuli. And that has been put as a deep habit, as an attitude in the Mooladhara chakra. And that is why it is called Mooladhara. Now, when man consciously, he changes this, and he can only do this by becoming self-conscious, that he frees himself from this, this pattern of reacting all the time, of responding to external stimuli. Supposing you insult me and I give it back to you, then I've just responded to external stimuli. I'm as mechanical as the animals are. Right? And that pattern is lying in Mooladhara. This is the basic pattern of humanity. So when we move on the spiritual journey, this pattern has to change. And this pattern is there, and this is put in throughout with all of life, and that is why it is called the Mooladhara chakra. Now I'm going to take this from another angle, and then we'll come back to this. Many people sit in meditation and then they look in. And when they look in, they cannot see anything inside. They see darkness inside. And we have been patterned in such a way that the eyes must look outside. The eyes can't see inside. But if we make an effort to move inside, then there are obstacles in the way. And the first obstacle beyond the physical body. The Theosophists used to call it the etheric body. It is like fog, it is like mist. So when I look inside, unless I'm able to penetrate that mist, my meditation won't go deeper. The idea is to penetrate this mist. This etheric body is like a web, and this web has these 7 chakras. On this side of the chakras in the physical body is what we have what is called the endocrine glands. On this side of the web, the etheric body, we have what is called different emotions, different patterns, what is called in the Hindu terminology as sanskar. Now, so this whole screen of chakras, it is in between the physical and the subtle body on one side. It is like a screen, and it is these 5 chakras which are working there, doing different functions. Now we are going to take one function at a time, but we'll start with one. Each chakra is representative of one element. So we'll say Mooladhara is representative of the earth element. Swadhisthana is of the water element. Manipur of the fire element. Anahat of the wind element, and Vishuddhi of the sky element, ether element. So we'll just try to understand what this means. Now, when I look at you and you come in to me, you come in not as what I see you, you come in as electromagnetic impulses. These electromagnetic impulses, the Hindu Darshan Shastra call them as Tanmatra. That is, that when I look at you, when I pay attention to you, you are broken down into electromagnetic impulses. Those impulses are flowing through my 5 senses, and I recreate your image on something called the Chitta inside. And what I am seeing is not you, I am seeing that recreated image inside. Now, how do I get the feeling of you? Right? And it is here where these minor brains called the chakras come into their functions. Supposing I am in a state of depression and I'm feeling lonely, and nobody is, asking how I am, etc. And you come and give me some support. This support which you have given me is the Prithvi element, the earth element. Even though it is subtle, it is not the earth which we see with our eyes. It is a subtle earth element which you are giving me support, right? Who has decoded that your words are coming in and giving me support? It is the Mooladhara chakra which is giving me the feeling of being supported. Similarly, right? I drink water. We say my thirst is quenched. But that is water. But I'm longing to meet a friend, and I see the friend coming and my thirst is quenched. Where does this feeling of being satiated come from? It comes from the Swadhisthana chakra. The impression which has come from outside, the Tanmatras which have come from outside are of 5 different kinds. They are of the earth element, the water element, the fire element, the wind element, and the sky element. The Swadhisthana chakra has taken the water element out of that, and it has given me a feeling of satiation that my friend has come. You insult me, and I feel inside that your words are coming in like acid inside, and they're burning me inside. Where does this feeling of burning, who decodes this feeling of burning? It is the Manipur chakra which decodes the feeling, the Agni Tattva in your words. Am I now coming? I hope I'm coming across in this. So these 5 chakras are working all the time to decode all the tanmatras which we are taking in from the world outside. And this is their primary function. Their primary function is to decode everything that comes in and to give something which is presentable to the mind inside, to the buddhi inside. Now, we'll talk of this in another way, that when death approaches, the first thing that we lose is the sanskar of the 5 elements. So maybe you'll understand what I'm trying to say through this. Supposing I'm on the verge of dying, maybe after 1 hour I'm going to die. I'm lying on the bed, and because I've lived a life of say 60, 70, 80 years, whatever, these 5 elements have loaned me their sanskar for me to live. Now I'm lying on the bed. Nobody is taking the bed away, right? But I get a momentary feeling that there is no support. Somebody give me support. So I may be dying and I'll say, but where is my support gone? And nobody has taken away the support, but because death is approaching, the earth element which supported me throughout my life is pulling its sanskar back. At the moment of death, it allowed me to use it throughout my life. Now it's going to take it back. Please just nod your heads if I'm coming across in this. Can you get what I'm trying to say? Take the, the water element. I may not be thirsty, but I'm suddenly feeling this pull of death. And when death comes, there is a big pull inside. And I say that the juices of the body seem to be drying up. The juices of the body are not drying up, but the water element is taking its sanskar back. It allowed me to use the water element throughout my life, right? And now the chakra, the Swadhisthana chakra is going to stop working. It will stop the water element from even though I'm not thirsty, I'll feel as if my juices are drying up. Right? Take the Manipur chakra, the fire element. The fire element allows us to see. And it allows us to see. And I'm lying on the bed. I'm on the verge of dying. And suddenly I say that I become blind. I can't see anything. And this is momentary. After a moment again, I can see everything. And that means that the fire element is taking back its loan, which it has given to me for me to live my life. And this happens at the moment of death. The Manipur chakra it's slowing down its rotation. It is not allowing my eyes to see. And I have this momentary moment where I don't see anything. Again, I can see everything, but the 5 elements are taking their sanskar back. These 5 elements, every moment in our life, they are being decoded by these 5 lower chakras. And that is the basic function of these 5 lower chakras. I'll just tell you a small story that happened with me. When Mr. Tavaria was teaching me these tanmatras and explaining to me how they work, I was telling him that, sir, I don't understand this properly. And you give me some example of how Tanmatra works. Tanmatra is an electromagnetic impulse. So at that time, he was also teaching me how to work in my dreams. So that day I was leaving his home. He told me that tomorrow, when you're in the dream, you ask the question, why are you asking me if you're not understanding what I'm teaching you? And the Guru works in many ways. So next morning, I was in a dream, and in the dream, there was a waterfall. And in the waterfall, I could hear a voice in the dream which saying, where are you? I said, I'm in the dream. So he says, this waterfall in front of you, is it real? I said, no, it's a dream waterfall. How can it be real? So he says, put your hand in it. So you put your hand in it. So he says, the waterfall is not real, but is the feeling of being wet real? So I said, yes, the feeling of being wet real. He says, now you've understood the meaning of Tanmatra. Right. So that it is those electromagnetic impulses which convey the feeling of wetness. Right? And we have it within us, where we can recreate that within us without putting our hand in the waterfall and feeling wet. So it is these chakras which have these powers within them. And as we go ahead, we are going to talk about all of this. Now, I want to just talk a little bit. The Mooladhara chakra, it rotates anti-clockwise. The Swadhisthana chakra is 45 degrees, 2 inches above at 45 degrees, little more to the forward part of the body. It's half the size and it rotates clockwise. The Manipur is a very big chakra, nearly the size of the Mooladhara, right? It is right near the solar plexus and it rotates anti-clockwise. The Anahat is divided into two parts. One part rotates clockwise, the other part rotates anti-clockwise. The Vishuddhi over here, the fifth chakra, is again divided into two parts. The front part rotates clockwise, the back part rotates anti-clockwise. And we can work on these and change their rotations, which as we go deeper, we will go into these things, right? Okay. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about the Mooladhara chakra. The Mooladhara chakra is the Mooladhara chakra is called Mooladhara because it has the 4 basic files of humanity. And when we work with the Mooladhara, we transform these 4 basic files of humanity. In the Yoga Sutra, these basic files are called asmita, or the feeling of I-ness, rag, attraction, dvesh, repulsion, and abhinivesh, fear of losing your identity, or hanging on to life, clinging on to life. In normal language, we can just say fear of death. Of course, there's nothing like real fear of death. There is the real fear is that my desires remain unfulfilled with death. I have so many desires, and if death comes tomorrow, then so many desires remain unfulfilled. And if we understand desire, then there's no fear of death. Anyway, these are the 4 basic master files in whether it is a plant, whether it is an animal, whether it is man. These are put. And man is a victim of these 4 master files as long as he is in a state of mechanicalness called avidya. So the Yoga Sutra says that man has 5 kleshas. One of the names we give to Krishna is Keshav, the one who has, who destroyed the 5 kleshas. Right? Of course, the normal meaning of Kesh is hair, but the deeper meaning is the one who has destroyed the 5 kleshas. So these 5 master files are lying in the Mooladhara chakra. All karma is created out of these 4 master files, not 5, sorry. They are lying in the field of avidya. Avidya, that is in mechanicalness, ignorance. So these master files are lying there. And when we work with the Mooladhara chakra, we can destroy these master files. It is like this, that I have a record factory and I produce 4 different kinds of record, which is all these. But if you want to destroy my business, you have to destroy the master records, which I keep in a safe in my office. If you burn one of my go downs, you'll give me a little loss, but I'll again recover everything. So I have 4 master records, which I keep in my safe. If you destroy them, then I can't duplicate them again. I can't create new business. So all karma is created out of these 4 kleshas. And as long as we are in a state of what do you call identification, in a state of sleep, nidra, we are what do you call creating new karma out of these 4 master files. But as we rise in self-consciousness, the operation of these 4 master files slows down. But when we work with the Mooladhara chakra, we can destroy these 4 master files. And when we destroy these 4 master files, you see, then we do not create any new karma, because the original, the very patterns which created karma, we have destroyed. We may have a lot of records lying in our go down. It may take some time to get rid of, sell all of that in the market, but we won't create any new master files. So you can understand the basics of these chakras. So now this word Mooladhar, mool means root. And not just root in the sense of root of a plant, but the root of all my patterns. They lie there, the roots of all my patterns. The Yoga Sutra says, Satu mule tad vipake jati ayu bhoga. As long as the roots exist, they will get water at some time. And when they get water, they will start growing, and that growing will create new roots in the future. Now, we saw that energy rose from down to up, but there is also a direction of energy from up to down. This movement from up to down, it happens in 51 coils or 52 coils. Let us take it in one way, that we have a story that Shiva wanted to make the universe. But Shiva, he created energy called Devi, and he told Devi, you go and make the universe. I just want to sit and observe. I just want to look. And Devi, in this making of the universe, she divided herself into 52 or 51 different patterns to create everything. And those 51 patterns wrapped around our backbone, right? And they created the 51 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. And when she finished wrapping around the backbone, maybe her mathematics was a little bad. She still had 3.5 coils, and she wrapped around just above the Mooladhara chakra in a small place called the Kand. She wrapped those 3.5 coils, and it is those coils which, when they unfold, the energy starts, Devi starts rising back up to Shiv, which we call as Kundalini. Because it is in the Kand, it grows out of the Kand. It is called Kundalini. So, when we are talking of the letters of the alphabet, they are all these letters are lying in these chakras, and each letter is creating its own vibration. When the letters are creating the vibrations and the chakras are rotating, now each chakra has its own vibration, which is the element inside. So, for example, we'll take Mooladhara. The element of Mooladhara is the, what do you call, the earth element, which is vibrating in a certain way. And then there are 4 letters lying in the Mooladhara, which are also vibrating. And when we look at it, it looks like a lotus with 4 petals. It is these, the petals are nothing but the, what do you call, words, the letters of the alphabet, which are vibrating in their own way. Now, when we take Mooladhara, there are 4 letters in the Mooladhara: V, Sh, Sh, S. We'll have to have a whiteboard next time. We forgot this time. And each letter has a dot on top, which is an anuswar. So instead of V, the word is Vam. When instead of Sh, the word is Sham. Instead of Sh, the word is Sham, and Sa, it is Sam. Why is this anuswar put over there? Why is the dot put over there? The dot is put because these letters are nothing but the Shakti of Devi. They are a part of the Kundalini, these letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. And Devi wants to return to Shiva. She wants to go back to where she came from. So that each letter can return back to its source, this dot is put there. So when we say Sa, the letter is going outside. But when we say Sam, the letter is going back up. It's traveling up the backbone, going back to its source. And that is why each and every letter has a dot on top to allow it to go back to the source. And it is these letters which create the, what do you call, petals of the chakra. So we see that each chakra will have an element which is vibrating, and each chakra will have different letters. For many years, when I was studying the chakras, I thought that these letters were arranged in the chakras according to their density of vibration. That is, the ones with the higher frequency vibrations would be around the throat chakra or the heart chakra. And the ones with lower vibration, frequency vibrations would be at the lower chakra. But it's not like that. And I realized this after many years of study, that they are arranged according to the way we say them in the mouth. That the gutturals are arranged in a certain way, the labials are arranged in a certain way, the dentals are arranged in a certain way, the palatal are arranged in a certain way. And there again, there are small divisions. If you see ver, sha, that is this sha, and the per sha. Now the per sha we say with the hard palate, but the other sha we say with the soft palate. So again, there are divisions over there telling us of the frequency of these letters. So each chakra has an element vibrating and it gives out a mantra, and each chakra has different, what do you call, letters, which are also vibrating all the time, which give the appearance of petals, and that is why we call them as lotuses. Now, as we study each chakra, we will see that each chakra has a natural part and each chakra has a consciously created part, which is created through conscious effort. And this is the Shakti of the chakra. Now we'll just again go to Mooladhara. The weakness in the Mooladhara, the basic weakness in the Mooladhara is greed. Now, being the earth element, the natural, what do you call, the natural function of the earth element is gravity. Right? So gravity is to pull down. Gravity is to attract. But when gravity becomes personal with the individual mind, when the natural law of gravity mixes with my ego, it gives rise to greed. I want to pull everything towards myself. And you see, Duryodhana is saying, I won't give 1 inch of land. I want to pull everything to myself. This is gravity plus ego. It gives rise to greed. Greed is the basic weakness of Muladhara. Of course, there are other weaknesses we will see as we go ahead. Now, when I consciously work with greed, I am what you call awakening the Shakti of Muladhara. And that Shakti has a name, which we will see later, what it means. The name you will see is the freedom from gravity, actually. Right? Similarly, when we go into a little higher chakra, the Swadhisthana, right? And we will see that there the weakness is kama, desire, desire for sex, desire for excitement, kama is the what you call weakness. But when we work with that weakness and we rise above that weakness, we awaken the Shakti of Swadhisthana chakra. We go a little higher into the Manipur. The weakness in Manipura is Krodha, anger. But when we work with anger, when there's freedom from anger, and there can only be freedom from anger when there's freedom from fear, and we awaken the Shakti of the Manipur chakra. We go a little ahead into the heart chakra. And in the heart chakra, the weakness is more to be hypnotized by something. I see something in a, what do you call, supermarket, and I say, if I don't possess this thing, I'll go mad or something, right? So I'm so hypnotized by that thing. That is more, when I work with that and I rise above it, I'm able to, awaken the Shakti of the Anahat chakra. And in the Vishuddhi chakra, the weakness is jealousy, matsa. And when I work with jealousy, I rise above jealousy, I awaken its Shakti. So each of these chakras will have different Shaktis, different powers hidden in them. And the basic power each of these has to be awakened through conscious effort. And we are going to go into that, how this can be done, and these are the basic weaknesses. Together with these basic weaknesses are many other weaknesses, and these weaknesses give rise to physical disease. We will also look at the physical disease in each of the chakras. Huh? Huh? There are 8 minutes left. Just one more thing I wanted to say. And okay, we'll take the questions. Okay, we'll take questions. Any questions which anyone has. You may feel at this time things are not so clear, but as we go through each chakra, things will become more clear. It's a very vast science, and it's not been very easy to put everything together, but I'll try to do it. Right.
Either on chat or they can unmute themselves and ask the questions.
You can unmute and ask the questions. Please unmute and ask the questions. Yes.
Can you hear me? This.
Anybody who wants a question?
Can you hear me?
Vakil Sahib?
You'll have to unmute. Okay, no questions.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me, sir?
On chat, I'll just see those.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, my question is...
Nishant Agarwal, how are chakras interlinked with ISM centers? ISM centers is a typical terminology of Mr. Tavaria. I will have to explain what it means. I'll just give you a small glimpse of it. I is intellectual, E is emotional, S is sex, and M is moving. It's a little long question you have asked.
Yeah, I realized, yeah.
Now, I means also according to Mr. Tavaria Sattva, E means Rajas, and S, sex, means tamas. Now, I'll just take it in a small way that supposing I'm sitting in a doctor's waiting room, and when you sit in a doctor's waiting room, there are old magazines lying over there, and you skip through the old magazines. They may be 5 years old or something, right? And you're just mechanically going through the magazine. You're not really attentive to what is happening. So this is a state of zero attention. This is what Mr. Tavaria means by S. When he talks about S, he's talking about zero attention. But supposing in the magazine, I'd see the picture of a beautiful actress, then instead of skipping, I'll just stop over there and look at that actress. From zero attention, I have gone to attracted attention, right? So, whenever I'm watching a serial on TV, or if I'm reading a thriller novel, I don't have to make an effort to keep my attention in the serial. I don't have to make an effort to, keep my attention in the thriller novel. The novel itself holds my attention, and that is attracted attention. Again, we can take another example. I'm driving a car with nearly zero attention, maybe humming some song or thinking of what happened yesterday. But suddenly a truck comes from the other direction. From zero attention, I go to attracted attention. So we have three kinds of attention: zero attention, attracted attention, and when I study for an exam, I have to pay attention. I have to put attention. And this is directed attention. This is the highest type of attention. There is a higher attention called divided attention, which brings self-consciousness, but that is different, right? So when Mr. Tavare is talking about ISM, he's talking about these three kinds of attentions. And when the resultant of that is what action I take out of this attention. This is a little deeper science. I can take it some other time, but with each, I can work with each chakra mechanically, zero attention. I can work with each chakra with interest, and I can work to direct certain energies in each chakra. Yeah.
I have a question. What is that?
Yeah. Hello? Yeah.
Go ahead.
How to use imagination? We'll take one lecture on imagination. What is the right use of imagination? I can't explain it in this.
Yeah, I have a question about the knowledge and ignorance. The knowledge about
the chakra sounds like lam, vam, I will teach you how to say them. You can't just say them as lam and vam. They are the sounds of the element in the chakra. And as we go ahead, I'm going to teach you how to say those sounds, how to use those sounds. I'm going to teach you. If you just can't say lam, 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 it has no meaning. It has to be said in a very special way. You will see the elephant sitting in the Muladhara chakra. And so when you say the sound lam, it has to be like an elephant is trumpeting, and it has to be said in a certain breath. So it is said in a certain way. You can't just say lam, 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 right?
Right.
So I'll teach that as we go ahead.
My question
never talked about chakras. Gurdjieff has indirectly talked about chakras in his magnum opus, Beelzebub Tales to his grandson. He's talked everything about chakras in that. Only has not called them chakras.
Vakil Sahib, my question is the knowledge and ignorance.
Even Krishnamurti never talked about chakras. Yes, Krishnamurti talked about direct seeing without the interference of thought, without the interference of memory, right? And when you want to cut off memory, you have to learn to consciously control the chakras. Without consciously controlling the chakras, how are you going to be free of thought? How are you going to be free of memory? It's very easy for Krishnamurti to talk about it. And you have to understand Krishnamurti was brought up by Leadbeater. What happened between Leadbeater and Krishnamurti, we don't know. Leadbeater could see the chakras. He's even written a book on the chakras. But Krishnamurti, throughout his life, he denied everything that Leadbeater talked about. And that was one of his basic sanskars in Krishna.
So can you explain us
The Mooladhara is every moment it is decoding the earth element. That decoding is forming into thought. If you want to see an object without the interference of thought, as Krishnamurti is saying it, you have to work on the Mooladhara chakra. Right.
what is that?
Whatever.
It's 11:30.
Can you explain the
Soul and subtle body synonymous. Okay, this is a little long. What is the difference between soul and spirit? And the soul is enclosed in certain matter, which is planetary matter. And that is why that planetary matter is the subtle body. That is why we call it as an astral body. We at present both are synonymous, but the light in the planetary matter comes from the spirit. So we'll talk about that some other time.
okay? How about
Okay, I think we've
done
it. We want to have it next week or the week after that? The week after that. Okay, we'll continue this the week after that. We'll go deep into the Mooladhara chakra, try to understand its different functions, its different weaknesses. What are the diseases which come out of the Mooladhara chakra? How we can work with it? What are the letters? What letters what they convey to us, and how to awaken the power of the chakra, how to use the mantra. We'll go into that next time. And thank you, everyone. This was just an introduction. I know it's been a little heavy. I'll try to make it a little more lighter next time. Right. Thanks for attending, and with God's grace, we'll meet again. Thanks a lot. Good night.